The views and opinions expressed on this station do not reflect the owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 3rd day of December 2020. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman, and that is Carla Zool. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you haven't already, share the link, start a watch party, retweet it. Just get the conversation out there to your network. Another good one today, as entrepreneur and marketing expert Kennette Burgess drops by. So a lot of good stuff going to come today. The Daily Play is a name that place. But before we get to all of that, Carla, did you get the email I sent you last night? I said we got to discuss this morning about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, folks, this is a hot one. Everyone's gonna have an opinion on this here. So, I'm just gonna put the question out there from the beginning, Carla. Here we go. Should employees remain neutral online? This is one of the hottest ones I think we're going to have. Now, this is a question being asked on our good friend LinkedIn. And let me just share with you what's come about on LinkedIn in regards to this. So, workers looking to express their political and social beliefs online are walking a fine line, writes BBC. With large organizations such as Amazon and Netflix becoming more publicly supportive of social justice causes, employees in turn are feeling empowered to speak up. But experts say those taking social media to express their views risk harming their job prospects. One recent Penn State study found that recruiters were less likely to select candidates who appeared too opinionated on social media. Now, I'm going to speak for Carla and myself. I think, in fairness, we are both guilty of probably being too opinionated on social media. Would you agree, Carla?
I would say not as much now, but before, yes, very much.
I don't know if anybody else can understand you, but I definitely can't. What'd you say? You were breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I used to be, not so much now.
So let's remove the word "to." Would you agree that you're opinionated on social media?
Yes. Okay. I want to jump in. Yes. but very.
You're breaking up quite a bit this morning, Carla.
One second.
Okay, no problem. But that's the question for the audience. A question for the audience. I want you all to answer this. Should employees remain neutral? Should you all remain neutral should you all remain neutral at a time like this, especially? This study, I'm going to share more of this study with you, but it's definitely looking like it's costing people opportunities. And let me go, I'm going to go further into the BBC article, right? Share some things with you that are being said here. So experts say that unfiltered social media activism could cost you valuable career currency. So the question is, what should workers who want to raise their voices do? Now, this is on the back of the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Daniel Pruitt, and many other Black people at the hands of police, which have recently made significantly more vocal and outspoken people on Instagram. What should people do? Should we just speak among our friends? Like, does that bring change?
Well, see, the key for me in this is
Mhm.
activism, right?
Mhm.
Because for me, as a reformed blaster, um, I think it comes at a price. But with the activism, I've had friends, I'm very pro Black, and I've had my white friends inbox me and say, can we talk about this? You're making me uncomfortable. Like I had an example about, I was really huge, and I still am, on support Black business. And one of my friends who I went to high school with was like, have I missed something? Like, when did you become so radical? And the question they asked was, because I went to Work Academy, did we miss something in Work Academy? But it caused a discussion. But my point to say is that some people will hold things against you. And I never understood why people, like your name, Jamal. So spelled backwards, it would be Lemaj, right? I understand now why people spell their name backwards, so people can't find them. That's your face. Oh.
No, that was my face. I'm just confused. Maybe activism is two different things to me and you. Not sure anything radical about saying support Black business. And I think
radical, that's your interpretation, though. To some, that they see that as a form of activism. The George Floyd thing, even with the pandemic, the COVID stuff, I think that some people are just uncomfortable when people speak out against what they consider their norm. And so I never got, like, I'm not changing my name on Facebook, but I get it. I feel that I was penalized for being outspoken on Facebook. And that was years ago. And I feel up to 2020 that I'm still in some ways judged in a certain way. So I think it's a bit hypocritical.
Because no, I'm not past you and activism. Activism's not a matter of perspective and opinion. And just for those out there who don't know, there's a lot of words people use on this show that I actually, from my days at Hot 107.5 in Bermuda, I use a good friend called dictionary.com. And so dictionary.com is always open, so I can look things up. But that's not activism, Carla, what you just explained.
So some it would be.
No, it's not about perspective. That's not activism. And we're talking about the meaning. It's not a matter of, to me, it's activism, to you, it's not. That's not active. Activism is trying to achieve a political goal or something, or trying to fight a system through demonstration or protest. What you're talking about is a fight. It's a struggle, but it's not activism. And I think we need to be clear in explaining that some things are not a matter of opinion. That's what I'm trying to say.
So Black Lives Matter, then. I'll use Black Lives Matter.
That's activism.
I still to this day have the banner up on the circle up. I saw people who I thought were my friends out here in the UK make horrible comments. And I was just like, whoa, and then I got to work with you. So it gets sticky. So I can understand why employers would ask, because I would say the fighting rate on some jobs, I'm sure they went up this summer with the whole George Floyd thing.
Let's go to some comments. Aaron Simon says, sounds like employers want to remain silent so they can exploit without guilt. Amanda Kelly says, freedom of speech is a right. We're entitled to our own views, but not sure where the censorship should lie. Well, actually, I think freedom of speech, and I've been saying this since I was a pup, and I don't know why I always felt like this, but freedom without speech is a lie. That's first. As long as you live in a land with laws, it's a lie. And the second thing is freedom of speech obviously does not mean freedom without consequences, as we've learned in so many different cases. So, yeah. Yeah, she's a joke. I heard that one, Reform Blaster. Now that was hilarious.
I am.
We got to get burner accounts to, I thought of it. I was once accused of having what they call it, a pseudonym or something. That's and I'm just like, I don't think anyone or anything scares me enough not to want to use my real name. And I was just like, don't flatter yourself. If I'm going to say something, when it comes to consequences, I'm okay with them. That's why when I hear people use the word activism, no, you ain't risked your life. You haven't risked your freedom. You ain't no activist to me. Activism is more than just going on social media. Activism is putting your life on the line. When I say your life, your livelihood. So I don't take that term kindly, and it doesn't come down to burner accounts. It's nah. I'm using my real name. Consequences. We knew what the consequences were when we were fighting. Renee, Charlene Simmons, Carla.
No, anyone who knows me will know I'll always be vocal on and off the job. I'm very transparent in my beliefs, and who don't like it, well, it's their personal problem, not mine.
Oh boy,
But, and I agree with that, but we have to be realistic as well, especially for the younger ones who are just coming up. They will be maligned, and depending on where their potential or employer stands, it could cost them. I have a friend in Belgium who stood up for Black Lives Matter and took the fist to a row of police officers. Within 2 days, she was unemployed. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, she had a bountiful job, and all of a sudden, they didn't need her anymore.
But I hear you, and a lot of stuff you're saying is consistent with the last, and I hear you, I get you, and I'm fine with it all. I haven't shared my opinion, and I'll share it at the end. I'll just get through the comments, but I actually have no problem with it. I used to say this to you, Carla, and others, like, there are consequences for our actions. I totally understand that. Do I agree with them? No, I don't. I think it says more about our culture and what we're willing to accept and not accept. We were talking about Craig Luby the other day. I'm going to say his name because it was very public on Facebook. And you were saying something about how he doesn't get drained. And I woke up to see that he had responded to you last night and said, you don't say this about the young lady Burgess, which... Oops, sorry about that. Burgess, which I believe is talking about Chevelle Dillon Burgess, right?
I didn't read the response.
I'm not quite sure that's a great analogy for Mr. Luby, but what he's saying is everybody does have a fight, right? And his activism is probably greater than anything you and I would ever fight for because his stuff is systematic. It's systemic situations that he's dealing with. I don't know the ins and outs. I've been told by lawyers that it's really deep. Right. But that right there is activism. This is a guy that can't feed himself in some respects because of his activism, been blackballed. And so his annoying people that may be like tired of hearing him. But that's activism, whether we like it, like him or not. That's a form of activism. And I think when I see people just going on Facebook and having an opinion, I mean, everyone does that. It's just a matter of whether it's a favorable one to the majority or not favorable one to the majority. We've seen a lot of people, what do they call them? Karens. We've seen some Karens lose jobs and opportunities recently and things that they've called 911 for. We've seen what the guys call Kevins. We've seen some Kevins be in that situation, right? But at the end of the day, there are people that have been out marching and we don't see the reports as much as we used to, but there's been news reports that, okay, when they go home, the police are on their doorstep. We don't hear about a lot of the consequences to stuff. Elizabeth says, I'm going to say what I have to say. As long as you're not being disrespectful, I don't see the problem. You should be able to have engaging conversations with people with different views. I agree.
I totally agree with that.
Mia says, people should be able to speak where and wherever they see fit. It's all about suppression. They want folks to just sit and shut up, sorry. And it all depends on who the messenger is that gets told to be quiet. Aaron Simons, vocal is what got us the 40 hours week. That's the regular work day for most people, the 5-day working day. Labor rights were birthed from vocal action, not silence. Wow, a lot of comments. Woo, I'm so sorry, you all. I'm so sorry. That's Carla. She is talking so much. I didn't even say nothing. Shout out to Eugene Fox.
That's a part.
Yeah, there are a lot of Facebook, Twitter warriors that are silent in person. Yeah, Carla and I know a couple. Carla, go ahead, Lisa James.
Absolutely, Carla. Employers are using social media as a means not to hire people. It is for all the wrong reasons. I was told I'm too vocal on Facebook by an agency I did work for years. My work ethic was not considered. And if I could just speak on her point, it's such a delicate balance because I am a firm believer of speaking out. But if it's going to cause you to not eat, especially if you have children or responsibilities, with no support, perhaps, it's almost like you feel frustrated, So I think at some point, well, some people may call it selling out. You got to make a choice. I just took a break from social media. I was pulling my hair out. I was like, forget this. And even now, if you look on my page, I really engage in stuff that's controversial because I just can't be bothered.
When she says rarely, she means not daily, probably on a weekly basis, people. But real quickly, I want to share this, and we have a lot of comments. We're not going to get to all, but I want to share this. I take activism very seriously. Obviously, being a part of Bermudians Against the Draft, yeah, we lost opportunities. At this point, with the opportunities I had through my job, financially, I could be well off. I didn't take that route. I chose, along with the others, not to take that route. When we talk about activism, it's not just about losing a job. It's about losing your livelihood. There's pretty much $250,000 to $500,000 bill that we took up to fight on the behalf of Black males in Bermuda to end that law of conscription. We weren't just on social media. We were out in the streets. It was a gentleman, and I forget his name, but I'd say it. I think his first name's Dennis. And I used to see him at an establishment I used to frequent in Bermuda. And he always used to say to me, don't run from the consequences. Stand your ground. So when we were out being arrested for our actions, and I want to go back to, I think it was right here, Evelyn, this is what I'm touching on. Absolutely. Say what you want, but also be prepared to deal with any consequences. People have a right to speak their mind. However, how you say matters to employers. I'm going to stop there because your fight matters to employers. What we did at that time, we took an unpopular cause. You got to remember, people were ingrained in their belief that Bermuda could not exist without conscription because Black males were the biggest enemy to Bermuda. We didn't just talk on social media. We fought the government to the courts. It cost us everything to the point there's a family that has a legal bill over their head. It cost these gentlemen the opportunities to further their education. Bachelor's degrees, there's master's degrees we're always talking about. It cost family relationships. So when it comes to should employees remain neutral online, I will say one thing. If you are prepared to deal with the consequences, go for it. But please understand that everyone's rooting for you. They're all rooting for you in silence.
But they're not going to speak up.
But when things get rough, when you're down, when you're out, when you're looking for a hand up, don't expect anybody to be there.
Well said, brother.
Comes with consequences. So thank you for your contribution to that conversation. Carla, we can go on. We might have to continue that one on Unfiltered tomorrow because I see Jackie out there, right? What you think, Carla? Unfiltered tomorrow?
I think so.
Okay, we were going to talk about social media bullying, but we're going to continue that. That can kind of go into social media bullying. We're going to discuss that on Unfiltered. So make sure if you don't already, you tune in. We're a little bit late for the news, but Carla's going to get to the news, and then we're going to bring in our guest for the day, Kennette Burgess. Look, woman CEO, chief. She's a marketing genius, not an expert, genius. Look out after the news.
Bermuda's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Ayula Ayenloye, has directed that all teachers, students, and staff be excluded from Clearwater Middle School for the rest of this week. In a letter to the school's parents, teachers, and students, the chief medical officer stated, based on an ongoing risk assessment by the Ministry of Health and in accordance with the Public Health Act 1949 and the Public Health COVID Regulations 2020, the chief medical officer has directed that all students, teachers, and staff of Clearwater Middle School be excluded from school from December 2nd until and including Friday, December 4th. This is in response to a potential exposure to COVID-19. Dr. Ayenloye added, at present, there are no restrictions on activities outside of the home. However, all household members must follow public health guidelines. This includes mask wearing, hand hygiene, and physical distancing inside and outside of the home. Turning to international news, National lawmakers introduced a joint resolution Wednesday aimed at striking language from the U.S. Constitution that enshrines a form of slavery in America's foundational documents. The resolution, spearheaded and supported by Democratic members of the House and Senate, would amend the 13th Amendment's ban on chattel enslavement to expressly prohibit involuntary servitude as a punishment for crime. As ratified, the original amendment has permitted exploitation of labor by convicted felons for over 155 years since the abolition of slavery. The 13th Amendment continued the process of a white power class gravely mistreating Black Americans, creating generations of poverty, the breakup of families, and this wave of mass incarceration that we still wrestle with today. Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon told the Associated Press ahead of the resolution's introduction. Now, here's one for those of you who love chicken nuggets. Restaurants in Singapore have been given the green light to serve chicken nuggets grown in a lab, allowing people to eat meat without an animal being slaughtered. The no-kill product approval marks breakthrough for the global food industry, according to the company behind it, Eat Just. Singapore's food agency confirmed it had approved the lab-grown chicken after concluding it was safe for consumption in what is believed to be a regulatory world first. Enjoy. December 3rd is Disabilities Day, or the International Day of People with Disability, and has been promoted by the United Nations since 1992. The aim of Disability Day is to encourage a better understanding of people affected by a disability, together with helping to make people more aware of the rights, dignity, and welfare of disabled people. Today is a day to raise awareness about the benefits of integrating disabled persons into every aspect of life, from economic to political to social and cultural. Disability Day is not concerned exclusively with either mental or physical disabilities, but rather encompasses all known disabilities from autism to Down syndrome to multiple sclerosis. Turning to weather with sunny periods, the high today in Bermuda is expected to reach 71, while Toronto, Canada will see a high of 40, and there will be a high of 55 in Porto, Portugal. Don't forget to tune into the 4100radio.com tonight for Nighttime Jams, featuring some of your favorite romantic classics. That's your Daily Hour news break.
All righty. Going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Kennette Burgess from it's not Get Focus. It's not. I had Get with Focus. It's Focus Marketing. All right.
Good day, Medical House Doris speaking. Can I help you?
Medical House is Bermuda's leading one-stop shop for healthcare. Bermuda's top doctors, dentists, care homes, and the hospital choose Medical House for a wide range of products.
Anything that we ask them to do, they come through.
These same professional quality products are available to you for home healthcare.
If we can use them, we definitely do so.
Medical House is best known for its uniforms and footwear. It also has restaurant uniforms that stand up to even the toughest shifts. If you're on your feet all day, Medical House has comfortable and stylish shoes that are also durable and easy to clean. Everyone needs some help cleaning up, and Medical House has got it. Leading-edge janitorial, facility, and maintenance supplies are all here. Medical House is on Millreach Lane in Pembroke, where there's private parking right outside the door. Call or visit Medical House today.
Coconut oil has been popular here in Bermuda as a skin moisturizer for generations, but is sometimes avoided in cookery because of its unhealthy reputation. We've witnessed a change in attitudes as recent findings indicate that coconut oil is actually heart healthy and can enhance our immune system, increase metabolism, energy and endurance, and improve digestion. Nutiva coconut oil is a superfood in its own right, and this month we're featuring Nutiva organic shortening made with organic coconut and red palm oils and also hemp seed oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. Carl Azul right there. I'm Jamal Hartman. Thanks again to Medical House and Lindo's, making sure we're able to do this for you every day. Also, Crimson Multimedia over there, Channel 82. If you have One Communications, you can watch us there as well. Otherwise, thanks again to everyone who continues to tune in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and the websites, thedailyhour.com and the 4100radio.com, and the 4100 radio app on if you have the radio thing, but it looks like we're having a bit of internet trouble today, so forgive us. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. A bit late because Carla spoke on the news for about 15 minutes, all right? A lot of news to get through today, but let's bring in Kennette Burgess. Thank you so much for joining the show. You like how I throw Carla under the bus? It's like a marketing tool, you know?
I see it. I think she loves it too. She loves the attention.
It's all right. It's all right.
Carla can handle it. She's a strong woman.
So I want to go here because this is classic Jamal, right? So I don't know if you all remember, Bermuda Tourism actually had a social media handle. It used to say "Go to Bermuda," right? So with Kennette, you see it's Get With Focus. So my silly self, right? I didn't even realize it was like playing on the same thing, like Go to Bermuda, like putting Go to. I had Get With, so I've always thought the name of her company was Get With Focus, and she was saying is Get With Focus. So I had to share that joke because it plays on the same thing. Forgive my ignorance. I'm like that. I'm like that. You know who I am.
Now we know why he failed Bermuda College. But anyway.
Behave, Carla.
I have my challenges.
My boy.
But look, talk to us before we get into marketing overall. What does focus marketing do, and who do you do it for? What kind of clients?
So good morning, Bermuda, and good morning to anyone watching from overseas, to all my international clients as well. Thank you, Jamal and Carla, for inviting me on your show. Focus Marketing and Development Solutions. So it was started out of a need to help the small to medium-sized business. For those of you who know me, you know that I come from a family of entrepreneurs, right? From the trade and technical to the medical side to almost anything you can imagine, but definitely focused more so on the trade, technical, and healthcare. And as growing up as a young entrepreneur, because I've been involved in, as an unofficial marketing consultant from middle school, right? Helping my family businesses and doing things with business cards, using unofficial editing tools and stuff back then and what so have you. I saw the need to help small to medium-sized businesses with resources back then, with affordability, with a lot of hands-on and project management. So Focus was derived out of a need, seeing my family businesses and what they had to go through and the resources that were unavailable in Bermuda or so expensive to help them. So that's why I started Focus Marketing and Development, to help my family businesses to grow them and to help people like them to start, especially minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and small to medium. That is my niche. That is my focus, if you will, to help them to grow, to start their business and to grow and develop it.
I like that. I love that, actually, keeping it all in the family. There's been a pandemic that none of us have been able to avoid. How has the pandemic changed the way companies have and should market?
Whew. Well, let me just first start out by saying the pandemic, in life, there are pros and cons to everything, okay? And I always like to find that healthy balance. That's just my thing. Find that balance. Don't do the far left, don't do the far right. Find that balance. And with this pandemic, of course, it's got the negative sides. You've got people who have died and sickness and all that. But it has actually been a blessing to my business and also to my clients' businesses. And that's because people like me and the clients that I work with have found a way to navigate through and to capitalize off of the things that they find the need and what people need. And that's pretty much the foundation of being an entrepreneur, right? To find out what people need and to give them what they need to find the value. So in order to navigate through that, that's all you have to do. Is find out what they need and cater to that need. That's pretty much the definition of marketing, if you will, is to find the value. So for me, navigating through the pandemic was, to believe for me, it was a blessing. First of all, let me just back up. Starting in March of this year, I was still on my job, my 9-to-5 in North Carolina. I worked for the company for, it was 10 years, and they told us we had to work from home. And doing that, I realized that, wow, I was as the most experienced person on the job being there, because we had pretty much, it was a high turnover rate sometimes. And being an international person, I didn't pull up with a lot of stuff, but I was also, just going back to your first question, Jamal, I was very vocal. I'm always a vocal person. Both sides of my family, we don't play. We're very straight up people, but we can be respectful at the same time. So I was always very vocal in the job. But through the pandemic, I realized, Jamal and Carla, when I came home, that I had a lot of free time. Like, I was the type, I got my work done ahead of time. I was done. So, and not having to travel to and from business, on that lunch hour and what have you, it was a lot of time. So from March until, I was developing my business. So that was what I was focused on, right? So it transitioned me into now becoming a full-time entrepreneur. This time and this pandemic has allowed me to see, wow, the value of marketing has increased, and also the value of entrepreneurship is needed more than ever, and how employers might not as respect you as much as we need them to. So I always encourage, my clients and everyone to make sure that, you have I call it economics, but also Black economics, because sometimes we are a little behind the curve when it comes down to things financial, is make sure you have at least 2 to 5 income streams. And I know my sister Teresa's probably on here. I know she teaches on this. Make sure you have income streams. So that is what I lived with. I was raised on that, whether it's real estate or stocks or businesses, to have more than one income stream, for sure, to help that. So that's how you navigate through a pandemic. Make sure you're financially capable. And that means probably business entrepreneurship and expanding your businesses.
Indeed. So, and that leads kind of into the next question I have. So a lot of small businesses have been impacted by COVID-related shutdowns. I mean, we had someone from the beauty industry last week, and then we had someone from the fitness industry last week, and they had been impacted by COVID-related restrictions. Have you and your clients, like, how have you responded to the shutdowns, I guess, or restrictions? How has it been for you and your clients?
So what I found, okay, let's start with my nonprofit clients, and let's start with especially my spiritual clients, right? A lot of them were already doing what they should have been doing anyway, because that's what I've been preaching since I've opened, and even before I opened my official business, right? Having that official marketing strategy and that digital presence. So for example, one of my church, that's one of my top clients, right? Well, my clients, but it's unofficial. But with them, we were able to consistently serve the people, right? Give out the word of God and everything, because, Jamal, we had a digital presence, right? We were already, before the pandemic, we had digital platforms and social media. We were optimizing our website so we can cater to the needs of people over in Africa, preaching over Africa, Australia. We have people also, my people in Bermuda, my family and friends listening in to us all the way in North Carolina, So people, my clients were already doing the things that they should have, because they got with focus, right? So they had the digital, they had the social media strategy, they had the digital platform, they had the website optimized, they had the pricing strategy and everything, all the things that I talk about and I preach about to my clients. They had those things in place. So they were able to navigate because they had those things in place already. And then what? It was just a shift. So now we were doing live stream, for example, maybe, using this platform or, this time of the day. Now with the fact that we had to all stay at home, okay, now we just increased that and just shifted and got more people on, transitioned them from being in church to outside, so things like that. Even with my medical clients, my healthcare clients, a lot of them were already optimizing their website and their email marketing campaigns and social media and everything. So all they had to do was continue that and then shift. What was the messaging? Of course, the messaging pre-March this year, was different from post-March. So we had to shift our messaging and what do the people, again, marketing is about make sure you find that value of what the people want. So really people always ask me that question, and it wasn't a big shift. For my business, it wasn't that big of a shift because we were already doing the things and always growing.
You're hitting on something that I really hope that people take away from what you just said. And I think Carla and I have had this conversation on this show in particular a few times. And I say, when I go to restaurants or anywhere right now, to me, they're simply doing things that they should have been doing all this time.
All the time, yes. Right? That's the key.
So I really want people to listen to what you're saying in that respect. Like, look, if we were doing what we should have been doing in any respect of our lives, then we should be okay. The pandemic may not have shifted. And I'm going to say this, it may be upset people, but honestly, there are some things that are hereditary, but there are things that we can control. And even from a health perspective, if we do things properly, when we have control, then we can avoid what comes after. So I just think it's so much in that what you just said that people really need a takeaway. Sorry about that.
No, that's excellent, because that's something that, like I said, my clients and I, we focus on that. And a lot of my clients were saying, Kennette, I'm so excited that we were doing this before, because it was just an easy shift into, it's easy to shift versus to start and create, and now you're behind the curve, right? So now even look at the second wave that's coming, right? It's like that. Bermuda's already doing a lot of the stuff, right? Now the second wave is coming. Now they just have to do the things that they were doing or increase it, whatever, test it, whatever it is. Versus at the beginning, a lot of things in Bermuda we probably wasn't doing as in around the world, So it's a difference when you're doing something already, and you might just have to go back, cut it back, or increase it, or shift, or do something maybe slightly different, versus starting all over, and then that's time, and time is money.
Right.
So you've actually, I'm listening to you. You've probably answered my whole next question, because you've given some great tips. But let me ask you this: what are a few tips that you would offer to someone who is considering starting a new business right now?
The first step. So when I have my consultations, if you're first of all, not everyone should be I feel not everyone is capable of being an entrepreneur unless they have certain things in place, meaning the passion to do the business, and not just just for the money. They have to have the passion, because as we all know here, all three of us are entrepreneurs. This takes time, and it always doesn't kick off at the beginning. So if you don't have the passion, you're looking for the money, money might not come in the first month. It might not come in the first year, right? So you have to have the passion and be willing to stick with it. So that's the first thing. You make sure that you have the passion to do that. Make sure that you want to dedicate the time to do it as well. And if you have the passion, you're going to find the time. My first thing of being an entrepreneur is make sure you have the passion. So when I have my first consultation with my clients, I talk about that, because I don't want to waste their time. I don't want them to waste my time, because I can be making money with somebody else and helping them reach their dream, versus dealing with someone who, I want to make some money and I don't really know what, Make sure you have the passion, and you can come to me. You don't even have to know what you want to do. You just have to have the passion to be an entrepreneur, or you can have the passion to actually do something. But I'm a business coach as well, so people can come to me, and I have a system where we go through it, and we can actually focus on the and detail and confirm what maybe be the ideal business for you to start, or at least one of the many businesses they might want to start in their lifetime. So make sure they have the passion, make sure they have the time. They make sure that when we meet for the first time consulting call, I go over the budget. Okay, so whether they have the budget, use the personal funds, or whether they want to go for loan, or use whatever's the case, make sure they have the budget, or they understand the financial impact of it. Because a lot of entrepreneurs think it's easy. They see us up here doing it. They're like, Kennette's doing it, Carla's doing it, Jamal's doing it, I can do it. It's not. They don't know the stress that we had to go through, the friends we might have lost, the family we might have pissed off, or anything that would have happened to get to this step. So they have to understand that, right? So those things are definitely the first step. And then, of course, once we know that you're ready for all that, then after that, I would say definitely first of all, you need to get me focused. Hello, that's the first step. All right, and we will link you to the. We work with people like the BDC, and of course, my clients away, we work with the equivalent on to North Carolina, but we work through it. And we go through the steps from branding, creating the logo, make sure that they have the essential colors, the websites, the business plans. So we go through it all. So as an entrepreneur, the foundation is always key. Okay, everything else is icing on the cake. For me to do the logos for you, to do your business plans and all that, I can do that with my eyes closed. However, the first step, Carla, is to make sure as an entrepreneur that they are ready to even become one. And that leads into one of the points that I really want to make here. A lot of clients I deal with, they're full-time, but some also are part-time. So we assess, okay, this is something that you want to do full-time, or you want to start off, keep your full-time job. And like I did for the first 3 years, I did focus part-time, right? To build it up, to make sure I learned my system. I learned what my clients in both countries wanted. Right? Develop my forms, my pricing strategy, everything was developed in those 3 years. So some people might want to go through it. If the Lord leads you, I tell them, go ahead. For those who are spiritual, go ahead and jump in it. But for those who's maybe let's just do this part-time. We assess that. That's very key to starting a business. You have to assess all those things up front, Carla.
Jamal, it sounds like she's been listening to our conversations, hasn't it?
Well, when she said something, I'm not gonna say what I'm like. Carla's probably like, "Dang, you just spoke about this."
We literally just had a portion of the conversation yesterday, but which leads to my because I've always said to people as a journalist, I'm like, the one thing that gets you through when you in any trade you do, the one thing that gets you through the hard time is your passion, right? So my question to you is also, have you ever said to a potential entrepreneur, okay, I get that you want to do this, but this is not your thing? Are you that honest with them?
Carla, you know me, okay? Yes, I have, but it's a way that you do it respectfully, of course. I'm not going to say, girl, you can't handle that. You need to go and stay with your full time. But now, of course, I'm professional, right? So I say that in a way, but I go through this, just like I told you, the first question, I really go through it and I assess if they could, have the skill set, they have the passion, they have the time, they have the money. I go through all the systems. And at the end of the day, after the consultation, or how many consultations that is, if it's like, honey, this is just not going to work. This is just not going to work. Of course, not in that way. Sometimes if they're my friends or my family, I'm just, straight up, because that's who I am. But yes, I have to be honest, because at the end of the day, I want to see people be successful. And like I said, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Okay, it's not for everyone. You have to have the capacity to be an entrepreneur. You have to have the passion and the time to be an entrepreneur. And not everyone has that. And not everyone has that at this time. Your time might be 2-3 years from now, 5 years. These people might have to develop their skill set. They might have to get their money up, or might have to get their time or their life together. If you're having a lot of challenges in life with family and spiritual attacks or mental attacks and different things like that, then your focus is not going to be on your business and you're going to not be successful. So I have to assess all that when they come to me. And yes, Carla, I keep it 100. Oh, yes.
So, having learned and applied your trade in the United States, what are some strategic differences, if any, that you've noticed in the marketing approach in Bermuda? Is it any different from in the States?
Definitely so. The foundation of marketing, of course, is always the same. We always can dig into it, do research, competitives and all that, But when it comes down to how I advise my U.S. clients and how I advise my Bermuda clients, Bermuda, of course, the biggest thing right off the tongue is Bermuda is really who knows you type business, right? In the States, if I know you or if I don't know you in Bermuda, I probably know something about you or somebody who knows you, and that's how that's how we get in the door, right? In North Carolina, it's not that. So so it's more personal marketing, if you will, interpersonal marketing here in Bermuda that I focus on a lot with my clients and strategizing on that and to use their resources. Also, another one of and this might be a later question or whatnot you might have, but using the barter system, when it comes down to marketing, exchange, or just business in general. In the US, you can do that, but it takes a lot more staff to do that. But in Bermuda, since family, friends, cousin, best friends, mama's daddy, all that, we can capitalize on those relationships more better. Oh, no, that's even a word. I probably better. We can capitalize on those relationships better in Bermuda. So I rely definitely on more personal marketing and strategies towards, but it's definitely a difference. Of course, in the States, the biggest focus definitely on different advertising streams. Of course, you have billboards and the explosion of TV media and stuff like that. But as far as foundational marketing and social media, digital, that is the same. But yeah, there are some things that I do differently. Of course, if you're my Bermuda client, if you're my U.S. client, or if you're my global client and you want to have operations in multiple markets.
That's very, very interesting. I mean, I definitely concur with you in regards to experiences Bermuda versus the U.S. It's definitely about relationships in Bermuda. I totally agree with you. One of the things that I want to bring this up, because I know Carla and I have discussed this as well. Teresa Stewart says, systems are extremely important for running your business. Now, I can confess, my business partners have challenges sometimes because I just like to get things done. I don't necessarily want to go through the processes, and they will tell you, they pull their hair out at me with that. I get that. I do get that. But I have adapted to systems more or less because it's not about Jamal. Obviously, it's about the client, it's about the company, and so on. But how important in entrepreneurship and in marketing, as per se, are systems to what you believe the success can be?
Essential. It's definitely essential, Jamal. And I say that because when you start a business, you have to, first of all, let's say when I go to my clients, the first one-on-one, we create the system right from jump, okay, right from the start. Because, and whether these systems are process systems that they do, or actually systems like technical, tangible, what you call it, programs or those type of systems, because we use both, right? It's essential to business and essential to marketing. From the financial standpoint, you have to have a system for your finances, unless you know what you make, know what your profit margins are, what your clients, your vendors charge you, and what you want to sell if you're product oriented and service. Like, you have to have a system for that. You have to have a system in place to put together a marketing plan. Like, that's what we do, a whole marketing plan. That's a system, right? It's telling you when to post, what to post, what's the strategy behind what you do, you have to have a system, and the systems vary based upon your business and based upon where you are, the staff in your your business. But you have to have a system in place for your business, and those systems, like I said, vary from whether it's your marketing systems, your business operational systems, from your financial accounting, if you will. You have to have systems in place. If you're not a person that is systematic, think systematically as well, because your thought process also has to be a system, but also you have to be able to jump out and think outside the box. Hence, a marketer, that's one of the essential things that we have to do, is we have to think in a systematic approach, just like the IT person has to, but we also have to think outside the box. And that's the time I'm meeting clients down the hill, around the corner, for ideas in order for them to be successful in marketing their business. So you have to have systems. And for those who do not, we can develop that when you get with focus, or we can come to and that's when people can come to me. Hey, Kennette, I don't have a system in place to assess my pricing or to do this. Well, come to me and we'll get that system for you. We'll get you on a path so you're successful as an entrepreneur to start your business or to grow your business and to sustain it. So systems are essential, Jamal. If you don't have it, you don't have a business.
I agree. I've come well, I'll let my partners they can tell people I've come along.
Hey, Carla.
I want to ask real quickly about data. Before we let you go, one of the challenges I had, and I'll just be very direct because I'm honest with that on my Facebook, and that's very public. One of the challenges I had with Bermuda tourism before, during, and after my time was that you just said that marketing requires us to step outside the box, be creative, and so on. Mm-hmm. But I feel like marketing had become so data driven that people just respond to data rather than, being innovative and creating things based on the data. They just say, okay, well, if data's telling us this, then let's just put more marketing dollars there. Just speak to us about why we cannot rely on data to make our decisions.
First of all, not everyone even gets the adequate data or the right data. Some people, data samples, I see with some of my clients, or I've seen with just even the case studies we done in college, right? When I got my master's and stuff, we focus on this. Sometimes the data is unreliable because it wasn't obtained in the right way. Remember, we are humans. We have faults, right? So we are the people getting that data. And if it's a system getting that data, then people actually built their system. So there are some errors towards sometimes this data. And we can't rely on it 100% just because of that. And data involves human capacity, human thought and intervention and ideas. And like, you have to use the data, consider the data, but you also have to consider the data that you did not get. That makes sense, right? So we have things that we surveyed 100 people that said, this is what we want in Bermuda for tourism. But what about the people that we did not survey? What did they want, right?
Talk to me. Talk to me. Yeah.
Right. So what about the people that we did not survey? And how did you survey those 100 people? Like, how did you get them? Were they just in the New York? Or were they just in Atlanta? You know, one of my biggest challenges back then with tourism was, you know, and to this day and the opportunity, if you will, what we need to focus definitely on other areas. You know, I could be maxed out, you know, New York, Atlanta. Everyone knows about Bermuda there because that's where we are. But I'm in North Carolina, right? And a lot of people don't know, and that's where a lot of money is, right? A lot of money is in North Carolina. This is where we have a lot of the sports events. Talk about Bermuda wants to capitalize in sports, while North Carolina has this. Well, North Carolina, I believe, is an untapped market, I think, for Bermuda tourism, because everywhere I go, no one knows about Bermuda, and I'm the mouthpiece for that. I have no problem with that.
There's
right?
49 other states like that, but continue.
Yes, of course. So I'm just, because I know North Carolina, just using it as an example. But if we only get the data for certain states or certain areas or certain things, and we don't look outside of that, then the data is only telling us what we want to know and not what we should know. So we have to put our intellect and creative thoughts and stuff behind the data. We can't just rely on data and say, if this is what they want, okay, this is what they get. No, data is one of the tools we use, but it's not the all in all. It's not the all in all. We have to put things towards it.
Indeed. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, Kennette. Really appreciate dropping by for this convo. This was on short notice too, folks, because remember, we were supposed to have the Bermuda Police Service on, but we'll speak about that another day. Thanks again to the Bermuda Police Service, but we look forward to doing some things with them. So Kennette literally did this in under 24 hours. We appreciate you, honestly, for having this level of conversation in such a short time, and we look forward to having you back sometime maybe in the new year. So enjoy your holiday. Thanks for everything, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Jamal and Carla, for letting me on your show. And just to tell you, for those, Jamal, so Get Me Focus. Again, that's my website. That's my social media handle. That's branding. Keep it simple, right? Because that's how you know, Get Me Focus. If you don't remember Focus Marketing Development, because it's kind of long, that's why I had Get Me Focus, right? So Get Me Focus on Instagram and Facebook. If you go to my website, getmefocus.com, all my social media handles there, my contact email and information's there. And for just for your guests only, Jamal, Carla, just for your guests. So for those who listening to this show from now on to Saturday, if they go to my website, see my blog, it's going to say the Daily Hour Daily Deal. I have a special offer just for those entrepreneurs who want to start and grow their business. So if they go to my website, they can capture that deal, and they have to go between now and Saturday. That's just for you, Jamal. Just because I love you so much and for bringing me on the show.
We love you.
Just for you guys.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, Carla. Stay safe in UK, please. Stay indoors.
I don't go home.
Yeah, she lives in prison over there. Thanks again, Kennette. Talk
Thank you. Bye.
All right. A breath of fresh air she is. Really, I remember Kennette before she even got to college, just seeing her come so far. So really appreciate her. We will definitely be having people like her back on. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to just wrap it up. We're going to have the daily play, Carla's favorite part of the show, folks. Favorite part. I mean, it's where she shows you who and how smart she is. All right. So
that is not true.
All righty. I'm telling you, we'll be right back. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere because we've got some more chat about.
The halls with smartphone data, fa la 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 la. Spread your holiday cheer with Next One, fa la 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 la. Free devices, phones and TVs, fa la 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 la. Visit our website for more info, fa la 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 la.
Give some unexpected joy this season with free devices, plans that now include more data, and bundles for the whole family. Happy holidays from One Communications.
Thanks again to Kennette for just bringing a level like that to the Daily Hour. It is daily playtime. If this is your first time watching, the daily play is usually, it's a question for Carla.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. So today, you know what today's question is, Carla?
History, I think.
Nope.
No, geography. Something geography.
Not geography. So name that place. All right. So really quickly, help her out, folks. Help her out. You can put the answers in the comments. She can see them. All right. It's a country with 3 capitals.
3 capitals?
Yep. It's a country with 3 capitals. It's gained its independence from the United Kingdom.
I don't know anything about
Its population is approximately 80% black.
So it's an African country. Senegal? I don't know. It's an African country.
It is on the continent of Africa. Here is the answer for you. It's the only African country to host the World Cup.
I give up.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know anything about football.
I literally just gave you the answer.
Oh, South Africa. Someone said USA, so I don't feel bad.
I let's hope Sheikah said that before you narrowed it down to Africa. But it is South Africa is the answer for today's question. So, Carla, you don't get no.
It's all right.
We'll give you a rim shot. We'll give you something like that. Look, I just want to touch on Kennette for real quick. We definitely appreciate Kennette. Again, just watching her evolve. She's been working in the U.S. for a lot of years. You can see the experience, how it's helped her. We spoke briefly about Bermuda tourism. I always wonder why they don't reach out to a person like her. And here's what's going to happen now. I got a message from someone asking me for a Bermudian to assist with a marketing plan. And I will be giving them Kennette's information because I just don't know a person who can do it better. This is not because I know her. This is more or less because I understand that this is a person with the expertise that can get the damn job done. So, Kennette, I will be sharing your information. And don't forget, go to her website, getwithfocus.com. She's going to have a deal up there if you have a new business, you need some help. Get with her. Get with her.
And don't forget the daily hour daily deal that she offered. If anyone,
absolutely. I think I might reach out myself, but I want to go back to some comments. We didn't get through them all. So sorry for you all. Teresa Stewart said, "Time is our most expensive offering." I agree. It's interesting how we trade time for money and how others trade money for time. Teresa also said, "Systems allow you to work on your business, not in it as an entrepreneur." Woo, I got you. Lamerne Wood says, "Also, when you have a system in place, you are able to hand off the process to someone else when you grow." Yep, that's the intent. Tamara Richardson says, "It's funny how you tune in closer to what you need most." When Kennette thank you, Kennette, for mentioning systems. No matter what else you have in place, without an organized system, it will consume you. I have learned that the hard way. And a lot of thanks to Kennette and people really appreciating the professionalism that she was able to share. And she's sharing the information right here. Getwithfocus.com, folks. Make sure you go through their Facebook and like Get With Focus as well. So thanks again. Really, really appreciate you for having this conversation. Carla, do you have any inspiration for us?
I do, Style is whatever you want to do if you can do it with confidence. George Clinton.
Style. Is he the one that used to dress like how Mr. Brown dresses today?
Yes, about the braids and what he had beads in his hair. Like he was really a standout.
What's his song Atomic Dog? That guy? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, because I always get him and Bootsy Collins confused, but I think it is him. He was real funky.
Okay, I can see.
Still alive.
Yeah, I can see how he put style and confidence in the same quote. I get it. Any final words for today, Carla?
I am so enthralled by Kennette, and this is going to age me, but I remember the day she was born. Her father and my parents are neighbors to this day, and I remember when they had her, and to see this dynamo now, it's just awesome. So there are so many talented young Bermudians, and I want people to never forget that.
Indeed, I agree. Thanks again to Kennette. Don't forget, tomorrow we will be having the chief at the Bermuda International Airport, LF Wade Airport, Mr. Aaron Edley, stopping by to talk about the new airport. Jackie will be back. It's Friday, so we'll be having the Daily Hour Unfiltered immediately following the Daily Hour. On that note, we appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, Carla, Jackie, and myself will be back again to do this with you tomorrow. Carla Zoll, Jamel Hartman. Peace.